Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to this week's episode. I'm joined by no other than Mr. Heath Cisco, a good buddy of mine. Man, I'm really excited to share this one with you. I really enjoyed this one. We get into a lot of good stuff, as far as the title goes. This one's going to be a little bit deeper. I'm sure a lot of you guys have listened to many episodes that Heath Cisco has done with several other podcasters, but I really wanted to dive into, how family has been a role in Heath's life as far as how he's juggled being such a diehard, absolute whitetail slayer to, being a family man as well. Cause I know him well enough to know that, family is everything to this man. So I was really excited about this episode. We get into some great stuff, not just about family, but, becoming a more efficient hunter, spending your time more wisely, and diving in when the timing's right. So there's a lot to learn in this one. Make sure you got your notepads out because there's plenty of good stuff in today's episode. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors that make this episode possible. Osio Gear. If you guys are looking to upgrade your gear, we're getting really close to opener. Make sure you use code RUNGUN20 at checkout and save 20%. Tell them we sent you, and you guys will be super stoked with anything you guys get from Osio Gear. There's tons of new products out now, so get online and check them out. Also, a huge thanks to Lone Wolf Custom Gear, Painted Arrow Outdoors, and Timberwolf Supply Company. Make sure you're following each and every one of these companies, guys, and stock up with your great gear out there. I truly believe they are very lucky to have so many great sponsors in this. But a couple little announcements, and then we'll dive into today's episode. We have the Whitetail Roadshow that is finally going to be in Iowa this weekend. Come see us. Lots of really good guests, a lot of special guests this year. We got the Wenzel brothers that are going to be there, and I believe Don Higgins and a few other absolute whitetail slayers. So can't wait to see you guys. I know I'm going to see a couple good friends out there, so looking forward to that. And also, if you're in Ohio, make sure you go out to the Mobile Hunter Expo and see Rendell and get your hands on some Osio gear. Our quote of the week for this week is from Mr. Tony Robbins. I really like this quote, and I hope you guys do too. Tony says, "It's not about what we get that makes us happy. It's who we become and what we contribute. That is what really gives meaning to our lives." Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Stoked to announce, let's get into today's episode with good buddy, Mr. Heath Cisco. So what's up, Heath? Good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you too. Sounds like we're going to be meeting up here again here in a couple of days. So
yes, sir. Looking forward to it, man. I can't wait. Our annual Iowa Roadshow get together. Get to see all you guys. I missed you. Wish we got to see each other more. Maybe with you all being in Illinois every once in a while, I'll come swing down and say hey or something.
Well, social media and listening to podcasts. I mean, that's the way I stay up with everybody that I'm good friends with. So I appreciate you having me on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm glad you could join me. I'm glad this worked out. So tonight we're kind of going to discuss a little bit about like what's changed for you over the years, and I'm sure everybody knows who you are. I mean, you can do a little bit of a background on yourself, or maybe a couple guests that don't know who you are, but
sure.
I would hope most of our listeners are following you. And if you're not, make sure you are, because this guy's an absolute killer and one of my favorite people that I've met in the outdoor industry. So great guy. But yeah, all about family and what's really how you've changed your hunting style over the years and that kind of good stuff. So maybe just give us a little brief breakdown, a little history about yourself and, your family and all that stuff.
Well, I appreciate what you said. My name's Heath Cisco, of course. I've filmed now for Whitetail Addictions, been friends with the DeQuistos, Lone Wolf for many years now. And I started out deer hunting back in the mid 80s. Started out with, I killed my first deer with a bow. It was kind of like a mercy killing. But I killed my first one, and then, I killed a couple with a gun and then got into bow hunting real big. My uncle was the one that mainly got me into bow hunting. And my dad was a hunter, but he was more of a coon hunter, squirrel hunter, rabbit hunter, stuff like that. And my uncle was a bow hunter. So the first time I seen him bring home a buck, which it was a spike in the back of his truck, killed it with a bow, I was just I wasn't hooked, but I wanted to be hooked. And then once I finally got into the field and chased around deer and finally found one that was wounded and ended up finishing it off, I was addicted after that. So hunted just normal, a lot of public, private back then, and back then you didn't even knock on doors. Nobody cared if you hunted. Then it turned on into got more serious about it. Started watching hunting videos. That's when the Drurys come out, Mark and Terry, and they hooked up with Jay Gregory and Don Kiske. So I met them at a show. I got to be real good friends with Don Kiske. Got into filming with him with Whitetail, taking it to the extremes. Him and Candy, and then Lee and Tiffany did that for a couple years. Then got out of filming. It was just it took two people. About lost a good friendship over filming because we just didn't have, if you had 10 days to hunt, you only got to hunt 5. And it just got a little frustrating and a little pressure trying to get kills for videos. And it just took all the fun out of it, and got out of hunting, got out of filming. And then it was around 2009, I drew my second tag in Iowa, went out there and shot a buck 10 minutes into my hunt. It was 154-inch 12-point. And then I went back about 3 days afterwards to try to kill a doe out of the same tree stand for the farmer, and had I'm guessing 200-inch class, typical frame buck with some junk on it, stuff come by at 30 yards. And I thought, I got to get back into filming. I missed out on filming that opportunity. Had to watch him walk by, end up killing a doe later on. So that got me back into filming, where I could self-film this and that. And it makes it to where I can do it on my own terms. I don't have to rely on anybody else. The equipment's a lot better. It's 10 times lighter. And it keeps getting lighter. They come out with a micro pocket arm now. I film with a cell phone. I got an action cam I use as a second angle. So that's what I do now. My life love is chasing down particular bucks. I target, antler size, and then at a certain point throughout the season, and then I change over to age later on in the season, because I want to have a buck that I'm targeting, whether that's a 170 in the beginning of season or whether that's a 120 towards the end of season. I'm after a particular deer at all times, and that changes throughout the season on different target bucks. So that's basically what I do. You can find her hunts on the YouTube channel, Lone Wolf Custom Gear, and I've been doing that with a bunch of friends. That's how me and you hooked up. It's just a great group of people, like-minded people that are mobile hunters and pursue their love in the outdoors and hunting whitetail, whether it's a trophy whitetail or just pursuing whitetail. So.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, so much I could touch on with that. But it is such an awesome crew of guys. You guys on the Whitetail Addictions. I feel like it's almost like a little second family, that we created there. And very thankful for the opportunities. It's been awesome. I feel like you've really helped me grow as a hunter too, man, and as a person. So,
well, we all learn from each other. And I've been hunting for a long time, and I've killed a lot of really good deer, but I'm still learning every day. And each podcast I listen to, each person I talk to, I try to pick up something, because we can all learn from each other. So
absolutely, man. Yeah, it's so true. And that's another really cool thing. No matter how many mega giant whitetails you guys have put on the ground, you've always got time to listen to somebody's story and take something away from it. So I really try to preach that on here as well. It's just never stop learning, no matter how good you are. There's always somebody that's got something that you can take something away from. So,
yes.
So, to kind of kick this one off, man, how have you balanced, your family over the years with your passion for chasing deer?
So it's been very tough because I was obsessed with it. I'm still obsessed with it, but I balance it a lot better. I'm older. I'm more mature. I know how to, when I can push it and when I can't. And I have, my hunting knowledge is gained to where I know when to strike and when to set back. So that's really important. But I started out hunting, and, I wouldn't even, when I went into fall, I didn't really have a girlfriend or whatever. I just hunted, and then I ended up getting married in 2000. And it was good. Me and my ex-wife, her dad, me and him were big hunters and hunted together and stuff. So that was all good. But I did end up going through a divorce in 2008, 2007, 2008. And that was rough. Hunting wise, I had two little girls. One of them wasn't even a year old, and the other one was 3. So that made it really tough. Then I ended
Yeah.
up going into having shared parenting, which was great. Instead of just I didn't have joint custody, but I had shared parenting as best I could do, and so it worked out good. It was all about my girls because I got two
Mhm.
little girls,
Yeah.
so it was all about them, and I balanced it. I hunted when I could. And then a lot of times I didn't get to go, and and a lot of times, you got to go at a certain time, and I would just sacrifice that. I wouldn't go. I would just, I took my family first, and I always put them ahead of everything. And then over time, the girls got older. They got in school, so it freed up my time. I have a great job. I've worked it for almost 29 years, and I got a lot of vacation, and I take most of my vacation in November. But I time it now. I work shift work back then. Now I work 410s. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
I got remarried in 2012, and it's been great. My wife is very understanding. She wants me to do what I love to do, and I do the same for her. And then my kids understand it completely. But I still miss out on a lot of time to go hunting. But it's not the most important thing. The most important thing
Right.
is my family and my girls. My girls are both now they're both college athletes. They run track and cross country. So last year was really difficult. My one daughter ran every weekend, and my other daughter ran every other weekend. And the one that ran every other weekend was usually in a different state. So I didn't
Right.
get a lot of time to hunt.
Yeah.
But that didn't matter. And
Yeah.
this year it's going to be a lot better because they run for the same school, and they run every other weekend. So I'm gonna have a lot more time to hunt if I need to, and if I want to. It's
Right.
not like I got to be out there every day. Used to be that way. It's not that
Hmm.
way now. I go in and I'm efficient scouting. I'm efficient hunting. I can't say I hunt a lot, but when I do hunt, I go in either to find some valuable information. I move my setups, and I know when to go in to kill, and it usually
Yeah.
works out for me pretty good. So
Break down a little bit for me, like how you've become more efficient over the years. Like, can you break that down as far as like, are you using more of your trail cameras? Are you waiting for that deer to daylight before you dive in? Or like maybe, I know a little bit of that question, but I want to hear your answer out of it.
sure. So over time, you learn something every time you check a camera. You check a picture on your cell phone of a cell camera. You learn scouting, talking to people. All this information keeps building up, and you got to remember. You got to remember all that stuff and observe what's happening out there and jump on opportunities. So, for instance, if it's, I call it stagnant weather. If I'm on a good buck, and unless it depends on what time of year it is too. If there's stagnant weather where the weather isn't changing for like a 5 or 6 day time period, it gets to where the hunting is stagnant. The bucks aren't moving as much, especially in, let's say, October.
Yeah.
November, you can kind of throw that out the window in the first couple of weeks. But I like weather changes. I like not necessarily cold fronts. I just like weather changes. I like, if you have 3 or 4 days of stagnant weather and then you have a front come through and rain, right after a rain is a great time to be in a tree. And I
Hmm.
can skip a week of hunting to hunt the day of a rain. If the rain ends at like 3 o'clock and it gets dark at like 6, I mean, I'll
Yeah.
get in the stand before it quits raining, knowing that it's going to clear up and have it. And especially if it's bluebird day sky, you can about get every deer on their feet. And if they're on their feet, you got an opportunity to kill them. So that's
Right.
real important. And then timing weather fronts in late season. I've been real effective with just picking the right days. Let's say I got a month to get her done. And I may go observe a couple times and this and that, but I only go in to try to pick the cherry when it's perfect timing, because I
Right.
can't go in there and muddy the waters up too much. I go in there and I sit back and watch, and hopefully the first time I go in, I get to kill, or I go in, I observe what I need to observe, I make the move, and then get to kill. So
Yeah.
it's just all about knowing what days to actually go. And then you can plan your kind of, family time and stuff like that. But the bad thing about it is, for instance, about 4 years ago, I was hunting 100 and probably 80 to 90 inch typical. And I knew, well, this year he was, the year before he was about 175. The next year he turned into about 180, 190. But anyways, so I was waiting on a weather front to come in, cold front, because it'd been kind of warm, and it was in December. And we finally got the snow that we needed and the cold weather. And I had a family commitment to do that evening. And I just knew I needed to be in the tree or whatever.
Right.
And I get this thing walking by on my cell camera 40 minutes before dark. And that was the first time that I had him on camera, for that month. And I missed the opportunity. And then it warmed up after that. It was about 8 days later, he shed one of his sides, and I had to wait till next year.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hardest thing that I have, man, is like, the weather lately is like so challenging, because like we wait for November and then it's like warm. Like, when are we going to see a front? Like, even in October sometimes. And it's like just heartbreaking. You make a commitment and it's never fails. And it's always like the best time to be in the woods. Like, I had a friend get married. I know you remember a couple years ago when I was chasing that really big one. Like, he ended up being 240. Yes. And I had to go to my best friend's wedding, and I was like, without failure, I know it's going to be the best cold front. Bam, and he got killed. And it is what it is. Yeah.
Well, like this year, I mean, the first day of season, I can't even hunt because we're going to a football game. Right. One of our real good friends, he played football at Utah, and they're coming to play West Virginia. And another one of our friends, her son plays down there. So we're going down there to watch the game, first day of season. It is what it is. I want to live my life. I want to enjoy things. Killing a deer isn't everything. If I miss one day and I can't get it done, well, then it's my fault. You know what I mean?
Right.
But sometimes that one day is the one day you need. But it is what it is. You would just chalk that one up and move on to the next.
Yeah. What age do you feel like it was for you where it really hit you that you're like, I need to kind of stop this volume hunting and really lock in on, more time specific and trying to really stack the odds in your favor? When was that like phase for you?
It was probably, to be honest with you, it was probably, I was probably in my younger 40s. Really? I'm 55 now, but I was probably in my 40s because I was just, trying to be out there every chance I could. I knew every minute that I was in the stand was a minute closer. I was going to get to killing my target buck. But that wasn't necessarily the case. I burned out a lot of spots because I was overhunting them.
Mm-hmm.
And just
especially
going
with private. Yeah, that's the hardest thing.
But you have to go through all them struggles to get to a certain point. But there's so much information out there, and it's hard to sort through it. I listened to all this stuff, and some of them I'm like, it doesn't work for me. It may work for this guy, but it doesn't work for me. But hunting all the time for so many years, I learned a ton. And then when you start throwing cameras in there, well, then I started figuring out that, geez, man, the first time I hunt a spot, I see all these deer, and then the next time it's less, and the next time it's less. That's why I become mobile. And, and to be honest with you, my hunting, I would kill a deer every year, every couple years. And it was just mainly from just grinding it out and being fortunate to kill one. I thought I knew what I was doing. And a lot of my friends thought they thought, man, you can kill anything, whatever. Well, it wasn't that way. I struggled. But then, that changed around probably 2006, 2007. And people probably think I'm nuts for saying this, but it's the truth. And that's when Whitetail Addictions come out. I started seeing, I was introduced to Andre, and I started seeing that, you just can't sit back and wait on things to happen. You got to get in there and make it happen. And then, what was it? Jared Ardotti come out with, the videos of hunting marsh country bucks and hunting hill country bucks. And that's back when, now it's Next Buck, but that was back when it was Blood Brothers. And that kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things, just little tidbits that I needed. And my hunting changed, and my success skyrocketed after that because I took that information and applied it. And I got aggressive. I wasn't scared about getting into bedding areas. I was brought up in a time to where, reading Field and Stream. I had North American Whitetail. There wasn't hardly any videos back then. And I was
Especially
trying to
on
do it
aggressive
right.
hunting, it was
Yeah.
like, leave the sanctuary alone. Don't touch,
Yeah.
and you're like,
I was trying to do, and I had another guy that was kind of a mentor in my beginning days, and he kind of taught me a little bit about wind. But his MO was hunting like 3 days in November and killing your target buck. And it
yeah,
wasn't even really killing your target buck; it was killing a big buck. And
right.
so he didn't even hunt October, and he hunted the first week or two of November, and then I'd say he didn't hunt anymore. And I did that, but you know, I mean, I've killed some deer that way, but man, you couldn't consistently kill deer. And
Yeah.
I'm like, heck, I only get to hunt a week. I want to start hunting other times. So I tried to,
Hmm.
I stumbled through all of it. And, in the beginning, I was just looking for where deer were moving. And then you start picking up on where they're feeding at. And you learn over time that, they're a slave to their stomach, and it's all about food, security. And then when the girls come in to eat,
That's
that's
right. Yeah.
basically what happens. So,
Yeah. And I mean, you've been really successful in early season and in late season. So, I mean, for you, like, I know everybody calls you the Iceman because, like, typically a lot of times, you are a grinder. You're going through the season, and then stuff happens, and
yeah.
target bucks disappear or don't show up. And I really, your style resonates with me a lot of times because I'm like, God, I'm going to kill one. There's no doubt. I'm not giving up. I'll see it through to the end, and a lot of times it just ends up happening. But
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to maybe having an early season kill, eventually. It's one of those things, like, I know what I'm doing. I'm just too damn picky. And I've heard you say the same thing. It's like,
Yep. Oh,
it's
that's why.
such a catch-22 having one tag, because you're like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
People, well, I got the nickname. I don't even know how the heck I got it, but Iceman, because I love hunting in the snow and ice.
yeah,
And people's like, man, it must be nice to kill all them deer in late season. I said, well, it must be nice
yeah.
to know what you're doing and get it done early and not have to
No
fight.
kidding. Yeah,
Because my
no kidding.
struggles and me killing deer in late season is because I was completely unsuccessful the first 3 months of the season. So, but I
Yeah,
love hunting in the snow. I'd rather hunt 3 days in the snow than a week in November. I mean, to be honest with you, I just love hunting in the snow. I love seeing wildlife in the woods in the snow, especially with a snowfall, soft snow, to where the deer just kind of appearing out of nowhere. And it usually gets all the deer on their feet, and they're a slave to their stomach, and they're coming to food. So it
yeah,
makes it to where you'll see about every deer in the woods when you do go hunting. And
yeah.
I just love that. I love the challenge of trying to stay warm, and just being out there early and watching the sunset and go down and hopefully have some luck. And then I love tracking them in the snow. It's just what I like to do. But I
I'm
want
with
to
you.
kill a
I do
deer,
too.
a target deer. And, like I said, in the beginning of the season, I'm very picky. And I set out a certain age class or antler size that I want to target, and I'll sit back and scout. I'll be hunting a good bit, but I'm mainly scouting, trying to find one, running cameras, scouting, moving cameras around, and let it go on through. And then about the second week of December, I've got all these other bucks that I got pictures of that I haven't planned on targeting, and then I just make a decision: which one of these am I going to go after?
Yeah,
And then I pick one of them, and they may be an antler size of, they may be 50 inches smaller than what I was targeting earlier, but I
right.
want to hunt a mature buck, and I want to hunt a target buck. So I set my target on him, and then I go after him, and then I have a ball, and if it works out, it works out.
Yep. I'm with you there, man. It is what it is. You got to play the cards you're dealt. That's what I always tell a lot of my buddies. They're like, oh, I don't have any giants. Oh, no. I'm
Yeah.
like, just enjoy it, man. Keep
Yeah. Well,
scouting. Like, don't leave
social,
any stone unturned. But, like,
yes.
also, you're not going to kill a mega giant every single year. It all depends on what state you're hunting. But I
Yes,
mean,
social media has blown that out of proportion. I mean, you look at your
it
phone in
has.
November, it looks like everybody's killing a 180, that
Yeah.
kind of deal. And,
No kidding.
sometimes certain people maybe are, but man, I struggle to find good deer. Let's say probably 5 or 6 years ago, my target, my standard was a 170-inch deer in Ohio.
Yeah.
And I've had to lower that because they're just not here anymore.
Right.
Ohio's in my area at least, the older age class bucks have depleted.
Yeah.
Hunters have become way more efficient with like a Tacticam cost 100 bucks in Walmart, and a bag of feed corn you're allowed to bait in Ohio is $8 to $10.
Yeah.
and they just go out in the woods and dump that. And if you set up with a ground blind and a crossbow, you're so efficient. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you wish they would do away with baiting in Ohio?
I'd love for that to be done in a
Yeah.
second. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love for it. I like hunting. I bait. I have to bait because if not, my neighbor's got all the deer.
I know.
So it's
It's
kind
the
of a fight.
same way in Kentucky. I
Yeah,
know.
it's terrible in a lot of ways. Now, I wish you could supplemental feed in the off season, but
You're right.
doing away with baiting, they're worried about in Ohio losing hunters. Well, I mean, in my opinion, if all you're doing is setting over bait, I mean, are you really hunting anyways? I mean,
Right.
I don't know. It's a debate.
It's
I
such a
probably get a lot
debate
of
because
backlash
it's
for that kind of stuff, but that's just my opinion.
yeah.
And my opinion's
Yeah.
my opinion. It's the same way with crossbows. I ain't got anything against crossbows. I think there needs to be a separate season unless you're some kind of military vet with a disability or age, that
Yeah.
kind of deal. Or even, age, either young or old. But
Exactly.
crossbows they're a gun. I mean, you can't tell me they're not a gun. I mean,
Yeah.
what they advertise it being accurate up to 100 yards. I mean, what kind of a weapon is that in archery season?
Yeah.
But, we
Amen.
got people now that's on TV shooting deer at 80, 90 yards. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Heck, I've never shot my
Yeah.
bow at 80 or 90 yards. Never even shot
Yeah.
my bow at a target that far. But
Right.
they have extended the range. I missed a big buck on my latest video that was just released this past week, and it
Yeah.
was a good poke, but it wasn't no 80 yards.
No.
You know,
Oh man,
so,
that was heartbreaking too. That was a hammer.
yeah, it
I
was
enjoyed the episode.
depressing, but it is what that's hunting.
It
So
is. It's going to happen to all of us.
just
I mean,
shot right over top of his back. At first, I thought I was real high, but it just grazed. It didn't even graze the top of his back. It just went right over top of it. But I'm
I'd rather
glad
that
I
than
didn't wound it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't
Amen.
wound it, and that deer will live to. He'll live for me to hunt him another day. So
Yeah. To kind of touch back on the family, aspect of things, like what role has your family played in hunting, in your hunting career for you? Like, where have they kind of come into play? Like, do you take them with you? Do you take your daughters? I know your one daughter hunts, right?
yep.
Or do they both hunt?
So I guess we can start out with my dad. So my dad, I got into bow hunting real big, and then he got into it with me or whatever, and we would go hunting and this and that, and I kind of took the fun out of it, let's say, of hunting because I got so serious into trying to target big deer, and it took the fun out of it for. I soon realized it took the fun out of it for me, and it definitely took it out of him for him because we had these nice bucks come in, and he'd tell him he couldn't shoot that one or couldn't shoot this one. And looking back on it, that was a total mistake. We should have just enjoyed the moment. And if he wanted to shoot it, we just shot. He shot it, And then I got too serious, and because I would tell him not to tell people where I went, and he would tell somebody where I was at, and it just got kind of crazy. So I kind of not really forced my dad out of it, but I kind of forced him out of it. So he hunted for a good while, and then he ended up, he got older and stuff too. He kind of quit. Now my kids, my wife doesn't hunt. She's all for it, but she just doesn't hunt. And my girls, my youngest one, the first word she said was deer. I mean, because it was all about deer, But she has killed about 4 bucks, and then my youngest one has killed 2.
Okay.
And whether people could criticize how I did it or whatever, I took them in a box blind, and they've killed with muzzleloader and they've killed with a crossbow. My kids, pretty young now, they're in college, but and they didn't. Neither one of them hunted any last year, but I took them in that environment because that way they could play on their phone. That way they could be in a warmer, area inside the blind. It's like sitting in your dining room looking out the window kind of deal. But that got them into it. If I took them out there and had them in a tree stand and freezing cold, it wouldn't have worked out very well. So they like hunting. They don't love hunting. They're very interested in my success. But they're one of them's 21, the other one's 18, so they have a lot of other interests right now, especially with college and sports and them boys.
Yeah.
So,
what is your thoughts on guys introducing their kids to hunting at an extremely young age? Because I know for me personally, like my dad got me into hunting when I wanted to get into it. Right, I was like 11 or 12, and I showed an interest. Went with him, watched him, shoot a deer. at like 30 yards. And I thought it was amazing. I was like, that was awesome, you know. And then I got into hunting the next year. But, you know, I also watched my younger nephew get into hunting. You know, his dad was way bigger of a hunter, way more hardcore. And he took him in there like, oh, you're, you know, this is what we do. But, you know, and has zero interest in hunting whatsoever. So I think it's like, for me, I've tried to do that with my kids as far as like, hey, here's what, here, let's go look for deer antlers. Let's go glassing. Let's
Yeah,
like make them a part of it so they understand it's not just about dad going out and killing a buck, you know?
sure.
But,
Well,
yeah, I
so
wanted
with
your
me,
thoughts.
yeah, with me, I mean, my dad started taking me squirrel hunting when I was like 4 years old. So I would go with him. I would just, we would get quiet in the woods. I would sit there beside of him, and squirrel would come out and he'd shoot it. And then as I got a little older, you know, I just couldn't wait till I was able to shoot at a squirrel. So then I got a little bit older, and then he let me shoot a squirrel. We started hunting with a 22, and then he'd start taking me rabbit hunting and stuff like that. And we didn't start out with big game. You know, I
Okay.
didn't start out hunting big game till I was 13, and was I old enough then? I don't really know, but I lived in the woods. I was always chasing after something. I started, you know, trapping when I was a young age, and just trapping like muskrats in a creek, and trapping groundhogs out of my grandpa's corn crib. And then I got into coon and stuff like that till I worked my way up to fox. And he didn't deer hunt. So when my uncle started, we killed the first deer or whatever that I seen that he had, that got me into it. But still, I hadn't deer hunted. And then my uncle kind of showed me the ways, and I really got into it. And I didn't get forced by anybody. It was all just desire and want, and from
Yeah.
me. And it's always been for me. You know, and still to this day, it's to satisfy my desires and needs, and I have to be out there, you know, every season for a good bit of time, and to fill my, you know, I guess primal dreams, let's say.
Yeah.
Some people, like my kids, they're girls. It's a little bit different. I think they like it because I like it, but they've grew up with it too. But I haven't forced them. They have to come to me if they want to go hunting. I don't even ask them. I did, you know, in the very beginning, I asked if they wanted to go, and until they said they wanted to go, then I took them. So, but everybody's different.
Yeah.
Some kids, I guess, especially boys, if you introduce them to it but don't pressure them, they'll be more apt to do it. But there's so many, you know, shiny pieces of metal out there now, I guess, for kids. You got your phones, you got all this kinds of stuff that a lot of people don't take their kids outside and get them out in the outdoors.
Yeah.
But like, you know, with my dad, him hunting and stuff, you know, I mean, he likes it. He liked going out with me, and it was kind of a camaraderie thing or whatever. But like I said, I took it too serious. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you got to wash your clothes. Okay, you got to take a shower. You got to do this. You got to do that, and it needs to be fun. It
Right.
can't be you know, if you're a big time bow hunter, you take your kids out. Well, just take them out for fun. If they
Hmm.
want to shoot a doe, let them shoot a doe. If they
Right.
want to shoot the first buck that comes in, let them shoot the first buck. I took my kids out, and it's like, you can't shoot this one, you can't shoot that one, you can't shoot this one. I'm like, what am I doing? Finally,
Right.
this big buck come over the hill, and my oldest daughter said, I'm shooting that one. And I'm like, okay. So, and it
Yeah.
was a buck that I didn't want shot, you know, but the neighbor could have killed it. So it come over
Right.
the hill, and that was one of the greatest times ever. She shot that buck, and we
Yeah.
ended up getting it. It was like in the 140s, and you
Oh
know, that
man,
was something
that's
that we'll
awesome.
never forget. So
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about, man. Just creating those memories. We're not promised tomorrow. You know,
yes,
it's the
and,
biggest thing. You know, for me, and I find myself, you know, relating a lot to what you were saying. Like with my dad, like we grew up as meat hunters, and I watched my dad transform into a trophy hunter, and then he lost the property that we had. We had a phenomenal property, like on the eastern
mhm,
shore of Maryland, that was just dynamite. Like you could probably kill a 140 or better in there every year. And when he lost that, he just lost his kind of passion for it. And
yep,
I got back into it, and I got really big into bow hunting. And then I was just taking it too seriously. And he was like, well, you know, this isn't, you know, and I was like, well, this is what I do, you know,
yeah,
but I was also in my 20s. I mean, it's like I'm a lot more mature now than I was back then, but
sure.
kind of leads me to this question I was looking forward to asking you. do you hunt for the same reasons now as you did when you were in your 20s, 30s? I
Um,
mean, what's changed for you as far
I
as
think I
like
hunt. I think I
why?
hunt the same reasons now as I did when I was the first few years that I hunted. And I'm not saying I'm targeting the same animals, but I do it for the love and the need for my soul. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why I do it. I got to be out there. I want to do it. It's not to post a picture on social media. I've got over that hump. I could care less. Ultimately, nobody cares if you kill a big deer. Nobody
Yeah.
does. Maybe one or two of your close friends. Other than that, nobody gives a crap. They'll see it
Right.
on social media and scroll, and they don't even know if you kill one 2 weeks later. That
Yeah.
kind of deal. I do it for me. There was a time period that I went through where I was probably doing it for the wrong reasons, and it was the desire and everything was still there for me, but it got to where, well, Heath kills one every year, and then I'm like struggling. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to kill one this year.
Right. Right.
It's a terrible pressure that you put on yourself. I don't put pressure on myself anymore. I do it because I love to do it. If I kill one, I do. And at times, I mean, I enjoy getting beat. I mean,
Yeah.
when it doesn't work out, I'm like, yeah, that's good. It keeps me coming back. So,
Yeah. Those are the ones that you really teach you the most always. I mean, from my experience, it's always the stories of like the failures that have taught me way more than any successes have.
yes. The only thing
Yeah.
difference between now and the way it was back in my younger years when I was hunting is I usually know what's over the next hill or I know what's on the farm because of cameras. Back then, I was just waiting on a world record to come out of the brush because I didn't know
Right.
any better. Um,
Right.
and that's just how it was. Now I kind of know what's over the next hill. I know what's down in the creek bottom, and I know, unless something strange happens, I know every buck that's walking the farm. So that's the only
Yeah.
thing. At times I'm thinking, I hear people doing away with cameras and all this stuff. Well, I would love to do that too. I mean, heck, if they outlawed it tomorrow, I'd be tickled to death
Yeah.
using cameras. But I'm to the point now where I love checking cameras as much as I do hunting. It's just fun,
Uh-huh.
and I get to bring the cards back to the house, or get them on my cell cameras or whatever, and I get to share my pictures and stuff. And that's
Yeah.
another reason that I really love filming these days. I love being able to share it with my parents, with my wife, with my kids, with my friends, and it's memories that I can just relive and know. Like I just not too long ago, I watched my buck I killed in 2000. I think it was 19 in Illinois. It was a snowstorm that come through at the end of October, and I shot this big drop tine buck. And just knowing how cold it was and how
Yeah.
miserable it was with that wind hitting me in the face, I relived it just watching the video. So that makes it nice.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I've always said that, and I always have tried to preach that to a lot of my buddies that want to get into filming. It's like, don't worry so much about getting the deer on camera. If you can, that's great. But like, don't let it ruin a shot opportunity for you. You're not making money doing this, but
Sure.
really try to look at it as like you building the stories from each season that you can eventually look back on. That's my primary reason of doing it. And so you can relive those memories, like you said, and remember the brutal cold that nobody else gets to experience watching it on TV. But
Yes.
do you feel like, the fire that you had back then is still like, is it grown stronger with age for you, or has it kind of like just maintained? Like, where's your mindset at on that? Like, you still really mad at them or what?
Well, no, I can't say I'm mad at them. I just enjoy
Yeah.
the chase, the challenge, the chess match. I enjoy all that. Back, when I first started hunting, the first 10 years, whatever, I was just trying to kill everything, anything, and didn't have any clue what I was doing wrong, what I was doing right. I was just hunting and slinging arrows.
Yeah.
So now it's a whole different thing. I still have the desire to get out there. I still have the want. My goals have changed a ton, but I'm humble. I don't have to kill one. I
Yeah.
want to kill one, and I want that challenge. I want that opportunity. But if I don't get it, or if I get it and screw it up, it is what it is. Like the buck that I missed in Illinois, it was a great buck. I had a good bit of history with it. and that one hurt, but hey, I get to watch it now on film and bring it up,
Yeah.
and it doesn't make me upset. I just watch it, and it's like, dang man,
I,
if I would just aimed a little lower or whatever, or did something a little bit different. But it's great memories. I'm glad I got the
yeah.
opportunity. I'm glad that I missed and didn't wound.
Right.
And like I said, hopefully this fall he'll be around and I can chase him again.
Yeah. Everything happens for a reason, man. How far was he? Just curious.
He was about 48 to 50 yards.
Oh, dang, that is a poke, man.
Yeah, it's a long shot, but
You've been hanging out with Justin too much. He's always out there
the
sending those
Hollywood
bombs.
bomb, huh? But it was a long shot. That's the longest. I haven't killed a deer over 32 yards,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. But it was an opportunity that I'd practiced for. I
Right.
practiced all summer at 60,
Mhm.
and I was shooting good at 50, even with the weather conditions, and I felt confident in the shot. I just shot a little high. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I just shot high. So
This stuff happens, man.
yeah,
I feel like whenever you're going to send one at 50 yards, no matter how good of a shot you are, it's like, all right, I got like maybe a 25% chance of,
yeah, and
nailing
50
this
is
thing.
a long way. That's why I can't figure out how people were shooting them at 70 and 80. I'm like, I couldn't even get my bow off the hanger at 70 or 80.
Yeah, I hate those 30-yard shots. I dread like a 30-yard shot where you're like, bleh, where you have to stop them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I know that son of a bitch is going to duck my complete. I mean, I've had them do it.
So what's your favorite range then?
Well, I was going to touch on this. So I feel like when they're at 40 or 50, maybe they don't really get that shock factor from your bow going off. But I wounded one 2 years ago, and he was a giant. It was I think it was like 49 or 50-yard shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear he heard that arrow whistling in the air. Like I think when they're that far, they're hearing your arrow go like, and that's where they still duck a little bit. So
Was you shooting veins or feathers?
veins. And I feel like at 50, I don't know. At 30 and 50, I'm aiming on the bottom of the heart because I'm just anticipating the drop. But then I've also seen people shoot deer at 50 yards and they don't move an inch. And it's like,
Mine didn't. The one I shot didn't move till the arrow was passed.
right.
So it wasn't like a duck. I just shot high.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But that's a risky shot. Looking back on it, I mean, maybe I shouldn't have took it. I felt confident in the range. The wind was blowing a little bit, but my left and right was great. It was just the height.
Yeah.
That
stuff happens.
I'm glad I missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so thankful I did not wound that deer. But my favorite range to shoot one is about 20, 23, 25 yards.
Same.
That's where I'd like. 15, that's my sweet spot.
20.
If you get them too close,
yeah.
you get on the angle, and there's too many things can happen, especially hunting low. But if I get them at 23, 24 yards, I mean, that's a sweet spot for me. So
yeah. What are, like we were talking about longer seasons and stuff, like what are some of your biggest lessons you've had, going through these rough seasons or like longer seasons, like from your failure aspects?
Yeah.
Like what have you taken away?
I mean, you go through the whole gauntlet. So I know that sometimes I can kick my butt because of opportunities that I let slip through my fingers in October. Just because, I mean, there's been numerous times where I've been targeting 170 class inch bucks and have a 160, he's there for the takings and I don't even go after it.
Yeah.
But you set your goals and that's what you try to go after. And then, there was a season like that, not too long ago, and I ended up killing like a 125 in January.
Yeah.
But I tell you, I wouldn't have traded it for the world. I mean, that 125 was everything to me. It was a buck
Right.
I targeted. It was a buck I went after. It had several years of history with it. So that was just a great thing. But what do I take? You learn when, in my opinion, you learn when to strike and when not to strike. So
you can't teach that.
No, it's just a feeling. It's like a lot of mine is just the weather. I go off the weather, and I follow the moon guide.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you
I do. I
weigh
follow
much
the moon
salt.
guide, especially in stagnant in stagnant weather. In stagnant weather, the weather doesn't change. I definitely follow it. I completely agree with the when the moon is directly overhead or directly under your feet, and that those time periods in the prime time of when deer should be moving and you could be legally hunting them. If the prime time for the moon under feet is 8 o'clock in the morning, well, you need to be out there at 8 o'clock in the morning in one of your spots, and I use that too for when I hunt bedding areas. I don't want to, there's everybody's experienced this. You go into the woods and you run deer out everywhere, an hour before daylight. Then other days you go into the woods and you're an hour before daylight and you don't scare out anything. And then the deer don't start moving till about 7:30 or so, and you start figuring out, well, why is that? Well, what was the weather? Well, what was the moon phase? Or where was the moon positioned in the sky during that time period? And you start comparing all that, and you just start building like a little algorithm in your head and figure out all that stuff. And then you apply it to the next hunt, and go on so and so forth. So that's what I kind of do. And the longer you hunt through the season, the more you learn and the more you get to see that, and the more in tuned you are with what's happening. I mean, if you go out and you kill your deer in second week of October, 2 years in a row, well, are you even hunting or scouting the rest of the year? Or if you're a rut hunter, let's say because you don't have much vacation, and you go out and you hunt the first 2 weeks of November, well, you really don't care what the weather is. You care, you want it to be cool, but it's the rut. You got to hunt. You don't have a choice. And you find out that certain days are terrible, certain days are good. But during the rut, it doesn't really matter. I hate hunting hot weather during the rut, especially, 70 to 80 degree days. I would almost rather sit back and not hunt those days, spend time with the family, hold your vacation from work. And then when that weather drops, the temperatures drop and you get normal or below normal weather, that's when you need to go in there. For instance, I hunted Illinois a couple years ago and went out there and hunted for about 6 days, and it was getting up to the 80 during a day. It was just terrible hunting, and there was several of us hunting the farm. It's just terrible hunting. Well, I packed up my bags and went to Iowa because I had an Iowa tag that year, and I went up and hunted, and I hunted about 4 days, and it was one day it was 80 degrees, and the next day it was 20.
Yeah.
I mean, it had that big of a temperature swing. And in the first day, it was kind of shock that hardly any deer moving or whatever, not as much. But then after that, I had to pack up and come home because I've been gone so long. But there was 3 bucks killed in like a 2-day time period within, with the guys I was hunting with. And they had been hunting for the previous week or two. And it had been stagnant. They hadn't been seeing much. Weather was terrible. It was dry. There wasn't water anywhere hardly. And then that temperature dropped down. It was like highs in the 30s and lows in the 20s at night. And there was 3 bucks killed just within 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah. It is like a light switch event, I swear. But it never fails. I mean, for me, even this year during the rut, it was like stagnant. Some flurries of movement, some flurries of rut stuff. And then it just went dead. And then it finally, the day I killed last year, it went to like 18 degrees in the morning. And man, it was like, bam, like there were deer moving all over the place.
Sure.
And it was phenomenal. And then I killed my deer that morning. But
like, you could have, you seen what kind of weather conditions those were. So with you, like, let's say you're limited on time and when you can hunt this year. Well, if you have flexibility to where you can take vacation on a whim, let's say, you can time it to those certain days. I'd rather hunt, 2 or 3 days on perfect conditions than hunt a week on bad conditions. I mean, that's just me. And I'm going to pick and choose that. It's the same way with. I mean, if you plan a trip, I mean, it's hard for me. I mean, my boss is like, well, you got your vacation scheduled here, and now you're changing it to here, and you're changing it to here. Well, I'm trying to fight the weather. And also with me, there for several years, and even last year, but I didn't make it the whole way because I got sick. But I'll take 2 weeks off in November and go to Illinois and hunt. Well, I'm not good at doing that. And I struggle. I'm good for about 3 or 4 days of going at it hard, and then I need a little bit of a break. I need a 2 or 3 day break, and then I can go back at it hard again. So, So like this year, I'm planning on, trying to just go out for like 4 days at a time, then come home, recuperate, get with the family, maybe do some work, and get my mind off of it, and then reset and go back. But if I get in a rut, if I'm hunting like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days in a row,
it's exhausting,
I need a little bit of break.
I mean, absolutely. This one's kind of a deeper question, but I hope you like this one. When younger hunters watch you, what do you hope that they take away from you and how you carry yourself in the woods?
Well, I don't know. I never really thought of younger hunters watching me, but
Well, you're on
I
YouTube
guess
and you're a pretty respectable guy. So
I never thought of it that way really, but I guess I don't know. Maybe for young hunters, a lot of times, maybe, I mean, me setting my goals and talking about inches of antler, that's probably not good for young hunters to hear. And then they see all these pictures and you hear people talking and everybody thinks everything's got to be a 160 now.
yeah,
And I'm part of the problem because that's what I target. So I
but
want,
it's taken you a lot of time to get to that level.
I
You weren't
have,
always,
people don't see that, I think.
right,
People don't
right,
see my struggles of, you know, let's see, in the late 80s on me trying to see an antlered deer, let alone
right.
kill one, and then just I started trophy hunting early. I started trophy hunting. I shot my first deer. I was 18 years old and set my goal in a 125 plus. And that was tough.
Yeah,
I was successful the first year, but that was kind of crazy. I mean, looking back at it, but and I'd kill a deer every 2 or 3 years. But what I would want young hunters to get from me is maybe not everything they see me do or say, but just have fun with it, enjoy it, cherish every moment that you spend in the woods, and especially cherish every moment you spend with your family, especially if you have a father that takes you out. And then also, I've always been a loner when I hunt, but over the last, 5, 6, 7 years, it's camaraderie. I mean, now
yeah,
it's camaraderie at camp. Now, when we go to the woods, we split, that kind
right,
of deal. But killing a deer isn't everything.
right,
Just become a good woodsman, and learn as much as you can. Take ethical shots. Don't take 50 yarders like I did this past year, unless you're completely ready for it. And there's people out there
right.
that's capable of it.
Yeah,
But just be a good person. Don't let things make you upset and not want to hunt. Like for instance, here in Ohio, me and a buddy of mine talk every year, and just when you think you got something going for you, you find out the neighbor put a ladder stand up on your fence, or the
right.
neighbor's dumping corn out on the other side of the fence, or one of
Yeah,
your bucks get hit, or you lose permission on a piece of property. Kids nowadays, unless they have parents that own land, it's a struggle. Used to, I mean, we owned land, but I hunted everywhere. Nobody cared. Just
right.
they wanted me to shoot the deer. Times
Yeah,
have changed. I hate that it's turning into more of a money sport. You got to have money to do it. Public land is great, but you got to you want to make sure you adjust your goals. Killing a big deer isn't everything.
yeah,
I don't know. Social media makes it out to be, but killing a big deer isn't everything.
right.
It's being a steward of the land, being a woodsman, and passing on the tradition.
Yeah. If I'm being completely honest with you, I used to love shooting the crap out of does. It was just as much. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I had so much fun. Like I'd kill
Yeah.
10 does a year and it was like, whatever. I mean, after a while it gets like, okay, this is becoming more of a chore, but
Yes.
it's just a thrill, like going in the woods, not having as much care and being like, I'm shooting the first doe that walks out. Like I have no cares in the world today. Like I'm not, and then a lot of times when you have that mindset and you're just in a good mood and relaxed and no worries,
Yes.
big deer just show up,
You're
it
right, and it's
happens.
nice to have something to target. I mean, if you're going out
Yeah.
for a doe, it's going to happen. I had
Right.
one of my best hunts I've ever had a couple years ago, for a doe, and it was with a recurve. I never killed a deer with a recurve.
Yeah.
Took
Yeah.
the
That was
recurve
awesome
out
footage too, man.
and
Oh
went,
my
and
God.
went after it, and I wanted to lay down good footage, and it
Yeah.
was one of the most exciting things I've ever done. I mean, it was a doe,
Yeah.
but it was great. I cherished the opportunity. I eat the meat. It's a great thing to do. We need to be, we need to be good sportsmen, and eat what we kill, or at least, and if you don't like deer meat, provide it to people that
Yeah.
do. And I know a lot of people that kill their deer and just leave it hang, and then the meat ends up going to waste and all this stuff. I was never taught that way. My dad always taught me. I mean, when he was growing up, they didn't have a lot of money and stuff like that, and they ate about everything. And then his mom grew up during the Depression, which was my grandma, and she absolutely ate everything. I mean, she ate
Yeah.
possum, she ate raccoon, she ate groundhog, the whole works. And that's how I was raised. You
Yeah.
don't shoot something and let it go to waste. You
Yeah. Same.
consume it, or you provide it to some other family. So
Yeah. I was looking forward to asking you this too. Why don't you give us maybe some examples of when you were, really like kind of overwhelmed or like stressed about the season? And what are some things that you've done to kind of like, bring yourself back together, like, and, kind of like level off the stress a little bit? Like, kind of, have you ever had some stuff like that? Or maybe,
yeah, absolutely.
maybe just let it go and you go shoot a doe, or just as an
Mhm.
example, I don't know.
Well, like I told you, when I get in a grind of doing it 8 to 10 to 12 days or whatever, I get in a rut, and I just you start going in circles, and you're not efficient. You're not thinking properly, or at least I'm not. I need to take
Yeah.
a break from it and get back to the real life. Your family, whatever, work, and then go back at it again hard. Um, I don't know. I start. You got to get through the phase of having to kill a deer to. I mean, you're not saying that, but you're probably trying to impress your friends, impress your buddies, be the guy who kills a big deer, all that kind of stuff. You got to get over that hump. And it's tough. Some people maybe never do. Other people get over it pretty quickly. Me, I mean, yeah, I'm still targeting a big deer, but it's all for me. It isn't for
Right.
anybody else.
Yeah.
If I don't kill one, I'm perfectly fine with it. And, at times I sit there and, hunting in January, I'm like, you know what? They got me this year. I'm thinking I'm
Right.
not going to kill one. And
Yeah.
then I end up, maybe lucking out and getting one, but you cherish them a lot more. Do it for yourself. I tell you one great thing. I mean, I've been all about inches and stuff like that, and trophy racks or whatever. The deer I killed last year, I mean, he's no giant or whatever. I haven't even put a tape measure on him yet. And
Yeah.
what really pisses me off is when I kill a deer and show somebody the picture, and the first thing they ask, there's always two questions: what does it score, and where did you kill it at?
Right.
And you know what? Anymore, I don't even tape my deer out for about 1 or 2 months. I
Yeah.
just don't even tape them out, because I don't want to. I say, well, I haven't taped it out yet, because that's all people want to know, and
Right.
I'm tired of it. It's for me. It isn't for anyone else. So I just say, I don't know. I mean, I haven't even taped it out yet, and
Yeah.
people look at me like, what? And then other ones I've ran into before, I'll shoot a deer or whatever, and I have taped it out, and they'll say, well, I seen your deer on social media or whatever, Instagram or whatever, and said, man, how much I think score? And I said, well, 160. And they're like, really? I thought it'd score more than that. And I'm like, I hear it from people that don't
Like,
even know how the Pope and
yeah.
Young scoring system works, don't even understand it, don't know what a beam measurement is, a tine length, nothing. And they're like, well, I thought it'd score more than that. I mean, where does all this come from?
Right.
Because I'm just like done with it. And at
Yeah.
times, I mean, me and Justin Hollingsworth talk all the time and stuff. It's like at times, it's just like we're just going to just fade into the sunset and not just film
Yeah.
our stuff and share with our family, and not post anything on social media, and not do, videos and stuff, because I'm doing it for myself. I'm not
Yeah.
doing it for anyone else. I'm doing it to share with my family. Now, don't get me wrong. If I mean, I'll post the pictures, and, and I'll, probably brag to my buddies a little bit or whatever, but it's not like it used to be.
No, I hear you, man. It is really sad though. It's like immediately it's like, oh, and if it doesn't meet this criteria, like, does it make the deer less? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, in my opinion, if you're taking a mature deer every year, you're really doing something,
you're right.
because I mean, it's not an easy feat, especially with a bow and arrow. I mean, I think I'm not trying to take away credibility from guys that gun hunt, but there's a reason why we don't gun hunt, because it would just be too
Absolutely.
easy,
Absolutely. And like I said, I hate to criticize people or
Yeah,
whatever.
no, I'm not trying to either.
To be honest
But
with you, I mean, if I see a picture of a deer and it doesn't have a bow in it, I kind of scroll past and don't even read about it. I mean, it's just where I'm at, and
yeah,
I just don't really care. I mean, I don't know. That's maybe terrible in some ways, but it's the truth. And normally when I see a picture and it doesn't have a bow in it, and it's killed in bow season, I know, I mean, what, are you hiding a weapon? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason they're kind of hiding a weapon,
right,
because they don't want you to know you killed with a crossbow.
right.
And it's probably good, because if I see somebody kill a crossbow, I don't really care about it unless they're like
Yeah.
a young kid. or an elderly person or a ex-military with a
Oh,
disability, that kind of
I
deal.
got to touch on this. Our good buddy Brad Davis. So
Yeah.
we were the first year I was at the ATA show. I come up there. It was in Louisville, so it was like an hour drive from home. So I go there, and Dustin Huff had killed that. What was it? The Indiana #1 typical or
Yes.
whatever, like that 200.
Yeah.
Well, I'm walking. Brad Davis is right there, and he goes up to that kid, and he's like, "Oh, well, did you kill it with a bow?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, with a crossbow." He's like, Psh, what a damn shame. I mean, right to his face, man, and just walked right by him. Like I was like,
That's
oh,
Brad. He's one of a kind.
oh yeah, it was wild, man.
But I mean, I may think that, but I ain't gonna say it to the kid's face.
No, I know, yeah, I know you wouldn't.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
that was a
Brad's a
great year
trip.
that boy killed.
He does not
But
care.
but I don't know. I just have my opinion. I'm
No,
getting
we don't have to go down that rabbit
getting to be
hole.
like my dad. He was very opinionated. Now that he's 79 years old, and I'm
Yeah,
like, my wife says, you're falling in the same
yeah,
rails or tracks. But it is what it is. I try to keep most of the stuff to myself, but on podcast, I usually say whatever the hell I feel. So
I love it. That's what we're here for. As much like late season success as you've had, man, what do you think kind of like separates a lot of guys that are more consistent in late season versus the guys that are killing like really early? Like, do you think that maybe they've just got more grit than other people have, or is there something that kind of stands out to you about those kind of guys?
So you're saying guys that usually kill in late season don't kill early season, or what do you?
Versus, yeah, like, I mean, I've noticed like some people are consistently killing deer more in late season versus killing
Sure.
in early
Well,
season. So, I mean, is it just because they're picky and stuff doesn't work out kind of?
some people are definitely picky, and then some
Yeah.
people, play it out to where some people may have late season spots. I mean, you know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Yeah.
like,
It depends on the farm.
yeah, it depends on the
Yeah.
farm. Like, I've got a farm that doesn't have any acorns on it, so I'm not going to kill anything in October in there. I mean, very
Yeah.
rarely, because 2 ridges over on another farm, it's all white oak. So,
Right.
I got to wait for that time frame to come through, and hopefully the pressure pushes them back into that farm, and I get to
Yeah.
hunt them. But sometimes the pressure don't hit, and the farm's just dead. I don't know. I feel that I think early season and late season is pretty much well.
It's similar, right?
It's
But
very similar because it's
it
all a
is
fruit game.
property.
It is
Yeah.
a fruit
It
game.
does lay out. Yeah.
A
And
late
cover.
season, late season, the foliage, you got to be closer to be able to observe them. Late season, you could be 500 yards away, especially in the snow, and see what you need to see to move in for the kill.
Yeah.
And the heat and stuff. And early season, they probably have a smaller bubble that they that from where they leave their bed and go. There's a bubble area that they'll get to before dark. In late season, I mean, that bubble could be, 1,500, 1,600 yards. Depends on where the food is, where the security cover is. They'll move a lot more. They have to move a lot more because of the temperatures and stuff. Early season, they could just lay there on their belly.
Right. No, I agree with you, man. This far in the game, like, with the amount of properties you have, are you still consistently looking for new properties, or have you kind of like settled?
I have to, because I lose properties every year. I mean,
gotcha.
it's getting to be
It's really challenging.
like I said, it's getting to be a money game.
Mhm.
I've lost. I used to. I can hunt everywhere and anywhere. I mean, everybody let me hunt. Nobody cared. Whatever. So the farms that I grew up on hunting, mostly I don't even have permission on anymore. And
Right.
it's kind of sad, but it is. I understand. I mean, these people are getting money for leases, so you can't blame them.
No,
Especially,
and it's hard for people that are consistently killing bigger deer, because then, yeah, I mean, not to bloat, but you put a spotlight on yourself, kind of, and you're like, oh, well, where's he hunting at? Well,
yeah. Well, I mean,
he killed that deer on that farm. Oh, he killed, and then it's like, oh God, like,
yeah. So I went through the whole thing to where, when you could get permission about everywhere, I got to where I had to hide my vehicle. I had to be dropped off because people would see where I was at and know that it was a big deer in there. And that was before trail cameras, so nobody knew. But if they seen my vehicle there, they knew I was after something. And what they wasn't paying attention at is behind their grandma's house was a giant buck running around, but they went back there and set twice and never seen it, so they didn't go back. That kind of deal. So it's hard to get access. I mean, it really is. And some people are against hunting, and everybody's got a family member that usually that hunts. So, and they want to keep everything to themselves. Back when I was growing up, you could have 10 people hunting farm and nobody cared
Yeah.
because most of the time those 10 people hunted at different times, maybe during
Yeah.
gun season. Nobody
Yeah.
really bow hunted. So
Yeah.
it's turned into a money game. Leasing has went completely crazy in my area, and it's mainly from out of staters. Can't blame the people. They come up from Alabama, Florida, South Carolina. They just don't have the opportunity at the deer that we have here. The problem is with a lot of it is, like I said, hunters are really fishing anymore, especially in Ohio with corn, cell cameras and pop-up blinds. You can about, I mean, you can about kill anything with a cell camera, corn, and a pop-up blind and crossbow. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the biggest bucks, the smartest bucks, if you do it right, you can get by with it. You can kill them, and you take sin out of the game and all that other kinds of stuff. You take away their defenses, and you can be successful. The bad part about it is everybody's coming up here for trophies, and they pay this money. They come up here, and even local people pay this money on a lease. They hunt and they're trying to kill a mature deer, and then as the season wears on, they end up taking a good 2-year-old, good 3-year-old, and it's
Yeah.
going to catch up with us in Ohio at some point in time. It already is catching up with us, especially if you have that. And in, like right now in southeast Ohio, we got EHD hitting pretty bad.
Yep.
So you take EHD and you take people, efficient hunters with the deer that are left, you can pretty much devastate a herd for 5 to 10 years. I mean, it's terrible. But that's what we're into. That's where we're at in hunting in Ohio now. And I don't see it changing anytime in the near future. You just got to roll with the punches. Luckily, I've got a couple good spots that I have to hunt. Like I said, I lose spots every year. I try to gain places, and it's almost impossible. Even with money. I mean, in Ohio, you're talking lease. I mean, you would think you could lease about anything for $30 an acre, but heck, that won't even touch a lot of them. So it's
Man.
sad. And for my kids, luckily, I've got I own a couple places, so my kids have opportunities to do that. Hopefully, their kids will have the same opportunity on those places. But over time, it's going to be a rich man's sport. Everybody that has kids won't even have. I mean, I know people that have farms that their kids don't hunt because they can hunt because grandma's getting $10,000 for her 200 acres out behind her house, and the kids ain't allowed to hunt. So then the kids are missing out on that opportunity. But that money is important to that family. So that's just how it is.
I know, man. It's really sad. When I had moved from Maryland to Kentucky, I was like, I got to see the shift in the lease prices go from $10 to $40 in 5 years. And I lost several properties. I mean, it was just kind of crazy to me. I thought that I was kind of evading that. And then the deer there, we're going through the same thing. We would have everybody from, Tennessee, Louisville, even people from Ohio. They would come, Florida, all lease property in Kentucky, and they would kill everything, especially with high-powered rifles and corn piles, in the middle of the rut. Like, I mean, come on. So
I started going to, I started hunting in Iowa in 2006. I never seen a box blind. I hunted in zone 6. There wasn't no box blinds. I mean, there was no
now
box.
they're everywhere.
Yeah. Now, and then the last time I hunted out there was 2018, and they're everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's terrible. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's in Iowa.
Right.
So, but what's funny is, like I said, I was real good friends with Don Kiske, back in the early 2000s. And that's when leasing, especially in Iowa, you get permission about anywhere. But he was ahead of the game. He started planting food plots before probably anybody started planting food plots. And he knew that the deer were slaves to their stomach and stuff because he was a very smart, really good hunter and had a lot of land access. He told me back in 2004, he said, leasing's coming and you're not going to be able to stop it, and you better latch on and lock up everything you can. And that was in 2004. And I was like, that'll never happen in my area.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yep. Because, I mean, the price of killing big deer, I guess, has become astronomical, like you
Yeah,
said, unfortunately.
people are just. I hopefully people are just chasing their passion, and if you have money,
Hopefully. Yeah.
then good for
But
them. Um, but hopefully they're not doing it for other reasons.
yeah, I'd like to see, I think a lot of states really need to wake up and change some things, as far as Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky. There's like, they're going to be in a lot of trouble in the next 5 years if things continue to go the way they're going.
Yeah, I
I'm not
think
a
so
deer
too.
biologist. I'm just somebody that,
I
knows
think
enough
too.
to,
And we're losing a lot of hunting land, especially in Ohio with the
yeah,
development stuff up around Columbus. Justin Hollingsworth lives up there, and I mean, he's losing so much property and stuff to just development, and it is
yeah.
what it is. But he's also losing it to people with money, leasing,
Hmm.
paying big money for properties. The farms that used to about every farm was 80 to 250 acres,
Yeah,
and now people are calling farms 15.
right.
The property is getting smaller. Um, so the farms are getting broke up, sold off. It's kind of sad. I don't know what my grandkids are going to have to hunt. Hopefully, when I'm going, my kids keep it intact, and then hopefully their kids can hunt it and stuff like that. But I don't know
Yeah.
where the sport of hunting's going, but I'm gonna do everything I can to teach my kids and teach my friends and family what it means to me, and hopefully they pass that on. So
No, I love that, man. I think that's a great spot to close this one out. I got a couple little rapid fire questions for you that I've been asking all of our guests. I hope you like
okay.
these. What's been your favorite broadhead in your life? Like, what's been the one that's killed the most?
I don't know if I should say this, but my favorite broadhead up till a couple years ago was the Rage Tripan.
Okay, yeah, I knew that. I've asked you that before, like just in
Yeah,
person, but
I've just had. I mean, just stay away from a shoulder, and
yeah,
it's going to happen.
it's one
I
heck of a
mean,
hole.
you're going to be good.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. What's do you have a favorite song that you like to listen to, or maybe a favorite like band or something you listen to when you get fired
Um,
up heading into the woods?
but not really a favorite one. I mean,
Okay,
it changes with time. I
yeah.
mean,
Well, what are you jamming to on nowadays? What's on your playlist?
so well. I mean, gosh, I don't know if I should say this either, but I like Right now, I went and seen them in concert this past Saturday in Cleveland. Morgan Wallen and Gavin Adcock.
Yeah,
They're
man.
two of my favorite people right now. But I
Yeah.
jump around from everything. I grew up in the '80s, so '80s rock. You
Yep.
can't get much better than that.
Throw
Uh,
on some good old Metallica on the way to the stand.
Yep. And then, one good one that I like listening to is Aaron Lewis. He's
Okay.
a hunter like us. So I
Yeah.
like listening to that. Luke, Brian, hunting, fishing. You can't get much better than that. Luke Combs. I mean, there's so many great people out there. And then, I mean, I like all kinds of music.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Same.
like rap. I kind of don't listen to it, but I like all of it, the grunge, rock, all that kinds of stuff. So,
Yeah. As long as it's got a good beat to it.
yes.
What would be your bucket list hunt of anything in the world, like any species?
Um, well,
And it could be whitetail, but some a select few guys I have, they're just like whitetail. I'm like, I
so
just think
mine
it's
would
interesting.
one that there's probably two. One that I'll never do is a fly-in Alaska or a fly-in Yukon moose hunt.
Okay.
I'll probably never do that because the price has gotten completely out of
Oh my
control
God. I know.
with it. So
I
I
know.
know I'll never do that. But probably my next bucket list hunt would be a setting on an Alberta on an Alberta wood lot with about 6 to 8 inches of snow on the ground. That would
Okay.
probably be in the bow zone. That would probably be my
All right.
bucket list hunt.
Love it. Love it.
I'll never do that either because I don't ever plan on going to Canada. But
Well, and I
that's
don't know if you have heard how expensive those hunts are now
no,
either,
I
but
haven't.
my God, they're crazy. It's
Yeah, I
like
don't plan on going up
it's
there
like an
either.
elk hunt.
I missed out on the opportunity a long time ago. But some of my favorite hunts happened in the like I said, the late 2000s in Iowa. Just
Yeah.
going out there in 2006, I killed my buck 10 minutes into the hunt, 162 inch 11 point, and the next 5 days, I was out in Iowa driving the roads, and I seen more big bucks than I've seen in Ohio. And I said
Yeah.
that. I even marked down how many I seen over 135. But I've seen more big bucks on larger class bucks in 5 days out there than I would see in Ohio in 3 years. So
Yeah.
it was pretty much it was a paradise back then, and a lot
Last
of
and
things changed.
last and final question. It kind of ties in with that. Is do you believe buck size overall will increase? Sizes of inches of antler will increase over time, or do you think we've passed the prime?
Um, I think that it will in certain areas. People have a lot of land locked up, and they're learning more and more how to manage them for trophy class bucks, rack size, especially these larger landowners. And then you got EHD coming in and wiping out a lot of the deer, and then that allows the deer that do survive to have all the food and nutrition, less stress, and everything else to put on larger antlers.
Yeah.
I think the number of large bucks, let's say 200 class bucks and older, will decrease over time. But I think the caliber. I mean, I think that we'll see. I think we'll see the world record typical broke at some point in time. Here coming up, and the non-typical just seems like they keep finding some slobs out
Yeah,
there.
it's crazy. It's like
But I think the number of those class of bucks over 200 are going to decrease.
decrease.
But I
Yeah.
think you're going to find, and plus you got the introduction. I mean, you had that guy from Wisconsin who entered that buck, and it was like 309, and come to find out it was in a pen and all that stuff. Then you got
Yeah.
the Mitch Rompala story or whatever. It's supposed to be a 230-inch typical and all this stuff. I mean, they're growing these deer in these deer farms 600 inches. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, I know.
So how are you going to? I mean, deer are getting out. Deer are getting mixed into the deer herd. Plus, they're talking about possibly releasing some of these CWD, deer that are immune to it out into the environment. So who knows what's going to happen in the future?
Yeah. A lot to think about.
Yes.
It's interesting because I've heard a lot of guys, mention it's like, man, Iowa in the early 2000s was like you had just mentioned, it's like incredible the amount of big deer you'd
For
see.
the average
In
hunter like
Illinois,
us, yeah, the average hunter like us, the good days have passed us.
Right.
And that's just
Okay.
my opinion, because unless you're rich and very wealthy and can have access to a lot of places, you're not going to have the hunting like I've had in Ohio and even in Iowa. Like I said, I didn't start hunting Iowa until 2006. Started
Yeah.
going to Iowa in 2002. But for one, you can't get the tags.
Right.
But dude, people are still going out there and having great hunts. But man, live, I mean, for a cheap hunt. I mean, I paid trespass fees, stayed in the farmers, one of their houses,
Right.
and had the most unbelievable hunts you can imagine. And
Yeah.
I think most of those days are the good days are biased. That's just my opinion. I hope I'm completely wrong. I truly do. I hope I'm completely wrong.
Yeah. Well, Heath, thank you so much for taking your time and joining me tonight, man. This was awesome. I loved our conversation. Really took away some good stuff, man. I hope you guys are still listening. I hope you all enjoyed this one. Where can everybody follow along on your journey if they're not already following you, Heath?
So I don't do much stuff on Facebook unless I'm posting something about my kids, but Instagram, it's under Heath Cisco. And then, like I said, I film for Whitetail Addictions. And remember Lone Wolf Custom Gear, Osseo, Vortex, Hoyt, all that stuff. But we have our videos on YouTube on the Lone Wolf Custom Gear YouTube channel.
Yep. Make sure you're tuning in. We're dropping episodes every Sunday. So, Heath, thank you again, buddy. I'll see you here in a couple days.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.